Hello, swimmers. Welcome to the swim run preparedness video for the Wellington Swim-Run Challenge this weekend. If you are not planning to compete in the swim run this weekend at the Wellington Recreation Center outside of Bailey, Colorado, you might be watching the wrong video. So I'm going to go through a lot of different things in today's video prep. But if you have questions after watching this video and reviewing our website, please feel free to reach out and ask us any questions you may have. Our email is mountainswimseries@gmail.com. So without further ado, why don't we jump on into it? I'll start off on our website here for you all to see. I guess it would help if I shared my screen so you guys could see it. There we go. Now, this Sunday is when our race is going to occur. It is a total of 1 mile of swimming and 5 kilometers of running. I'll go over the course, the transitions, what you need, what you don't need, all of that in just a little bit. But let's start out with arrival times. Now, here we are on the website. You guys can see that packet pickup begins at 6 a.m. and it closes at 7:30 a.m. If you are camping with us on Saturday night, and I'll talk about camping in just a little bit, then you can get up a little bit later than those who are driving in the morning of the race. If you're driving for Denver, for example, it will take you at minimum an hour to an hour and 15 to get here. And then you're going to have to walk about 15 minutes from your parking spot to get to where the race starts. So please account for that when you think of this 6 to 7:30 packet pickup. If you arrive after 7:30, you will not get to race. We are in full prep mode at that point, and we cannot handle other people coming in and making changes. So 6 to 7:30 a.m. on Sunday is when packet pickup begins, or when packet pickup happens. I'm sorry. I'll point out where that is on the map in just a second. 7:45 a.m. we'll do a swimmer and runner safety meeting. So, we'll briefly go over all these details, and then the race will start at 8 a.m. Now, the race cutoff is 10 a.m. Should be plenty of time for everyone to get through, and then we'll do awards and giveaways at 10:15 a.m. Now, I said should be plenty of time for everyone to get through. You are an elite few who are doing our first ever race this weekend. We have about 15 people signed up. So we're really excited for you guys to experience this short little taste of what the swim run community is all about. Now, let's talk about arrival and how to get here. So this is a map of the Wellington Recreation Area. Once you arrive at the Wellington Recreation Area, you'll reach a little T in the road. There will be a big office on your right-hand side. You'll make a left-hand turn and go down this dirt road over here where I'm putting my cursor. You'll go over the dam, which is right here, and then you'll keep driving until right here where my cursor is. This arrival is also on the race course. So you'll be driving along this road, and there will be a right-hand cutoff onto a small dirt road. There will be Mountain Swim Series signs there, but look out for it. You'll make that right-hand turn into here and drive up this dirt road to just past right here where our big meadow is. That's where camping and parking will be occurring. Now, this is a great chance to talk about camping. If you're camping with us, you need to have signed up ahead of time on this website right here. There's still time to do that, and we still have space if you want to camp on either Friday or Saturday night or both nights. Now, I want to make it incredibly clear that if you are camping with us, you cannot bring a trailer. That does not mean you cannot bring a big trailer. That means you cannot bring any trailers. I don't care if it's a flatbed that's 7 feet long. I don't care if it's a teardrop trailer. Our permit does not allow trailers to be parked and camped in this meadow that we rent for the weekend. Inevitably, someone will show up on Friday or Saturday afternoon with a little teardrop trailer and say, but it's really small. I don't care. I'm sorry. But our permit doesn't allow it. So either you're sleeping in your car or a tent or something else, but you cannot bring a trailer to camp with us. So if you have already signed up to camp and you were planning on bringing a trailer, you can email us and we'll get something figured out. But if you are planning to camp with us and you haven't decided, do not bring that trailer with you. Now, That camping and parking that I mentioned way down over here, you'll have to walk then down this dirt road along the path of the race course to get to this swim beach where we start. It's about a 2/3 of a mile walk. So, like I mentioned, packet pickup closes at 7:30. It's about a 20-minute walk down a steep hill, and it's dirt. So we suggest you bring some comfy shoes to walk in. Hopefully you're bringing those already for this swim run event. Now, that's a little bit about arrival, parking, camping. Let's talk about the race course, the exciting part. As you can see, we have our start finish line down here on the swim beach. It will be a mass start. Everyone will go at the same time. You guys will swim directly northwest out into the lake. There will be one buoy for you right about here, and we're also going to have a sighting buoy for you to help guide you. And at this far buoy right here, you're going to make a 90-degree right-hand turn, and you're going to exit at the beach right over here. Now, after you exit the beach, you'll run up a teeny little hill. It's a little bit rocky. Hopefully you're wearing your swim run shoes, and you'll run along that same road that you drove in on for just about exactly 1 mile. Now, this is a dirt road that we will have signs and cones up, but there will be cars on it. So please stay to the far right side of the road. Now, you're running. It's pretty flat over here, a couple of rollers. And then as soon as you hit that right-hand turn, you're going to have to go uphill for about 200 meters. It's a pretty steep little uphill. And then you'll have that steep downhill all the way back to the swim beach. Okay? You are going to go through that course 3 times. We have a 1/3 of a mile swim and a just barely over 1 mile run to total our 1 mile swim and our 5K run. You will finish by crossing a finish line just above the swim beach. We will have a big set of green and orange cones set up that clearly mark the finish line. Your time does not finish until you run past that finish line on your 3rd and final lap. So keep that in mind. Now, let's talk a little bit about safety and what else you need for this swim run experience. Let's talk about safety in the water first. If you're in the water and at any point you feel constriction, you're cold, you get hypothermic, your first and most important thing to do is to help yourself. If you're wearing a wetsuit, that means pull down on the neck of the wetsuit a little bit, let some water in, and flip over onto your back and float. Shin goes back and up until you feel your belly button and your toes come up to the surface of the water. Floating on your back, taking nice big breaths, will help you calm down a little bit. There will also be kayakers and stand-up paddle boarders all along this course on this big long line and near the buoy and near the shore. So if at any point you feel endangered for yourself and you don't know if you're going to be safe, go over to one of those kayakers or stand-up paddle boarders, let them know, and gently place your hand on the tip or on the tail of their watercraft. Now, I'm really specific about that because if you place your hand right next to where they're sitting or standing, they might tip over and go into the water also, which I really don't want. Our volunteers didn't sign up to race. They signed up to volunteer and be in a watercraft. So gently place your hand on the tip or tail of their watercraft if you just need to rest. You're not going to be disqualified if you do that. It's not a problem at all. For us, our number one priority in our races is safety. If you get into any of our races or get into the water, you also get out of the water under your own volition. The best sign of a mature athlete is knowing when they are imperiled or endangered and they remove themselves from that situation rather than imperiling themselves or others more. So please be cognizant of that. Speaking of, the water up here is a little cold. We're expecting high 60s to low 70s, and we're at altitude. Now, if you haven't trained in Colorado or trained at high altitude, we're about 3,500 feet higher than Denver. That will affect you in the swim and on the run. Please be prepared for that. You should be getting in and warming up in the water before the race starts so you know what to expect from the water temperature. Now, let's talk about all of the gear you might want or need for this swim run race. Now, although this is an Otillo style swim race, luckily we're not branded as one of those, so we don't have the same restrictions. That means you can wear almost whatever you want for this race. Some people will be wearing wetsuits, shorty wetsuits with sleeves, without sleeves. They might have pole buoys, they might have paddles. You are allowed to use any and all of that equipment I just mentioned. Almost all swim runners wear their shoes throughout the entire race. That means during the swim and the run. If you do not plan to do that, you will have some logistical challenges because you're going to need to place a pair of shoes both at the swim exit and at the swim start. You can do that, I suppose, but it's going to be pretty challenging. We highly recommend you having at least, I guess you would need even more than those two pairs of shoes. So we highly recommend you wear those shoes throughout the entire race. Now, if one thing you cannot do is dump gear in the middle of the race. So if you're swimming and you don't want your pull buoy anymore, too bad, so sad. You cannot dump it in the middle of the water. You cannot dump it at the aid station from at the swim to run transition. You have to bring it back with you to the start finish line. Okay. All of our gear needs to be placed at that start finish line. Now, I mentioned an aid station right here. We'll have a table with water and food and Gatorade and warm liquids if you need it during the race at any point. And at that aid station, as well as at the start and finish line, we'll have paramedics and EMTs if for some reason something goes wrong. Now, let's talk a little bit more about safety and what to bring in addition to what you're racing with. We will be giving you a cap the morning of the race. You are required to wear that swim cap while you're racing. That makes sure we can see you while you're swimming. You can take it off while you're running, but you do have to put it back on before you jump back in the water. Now, we highly suggest that you bring warm clothes and warm liquids with you to this race. Whether that means you have a really great thermos or you're bringing a camping stove, we will have those as well, and we'll have plenty of warm liquids. But as soon as you get out of the water or finish your race, the likelihood that you get cold is pretty high, and we cannot predict the weather at this high altitude in the Colorado mountains. If you've raced any of our other races, then you know some years at this venue, it's 80 degrees and sunny and beautiful, and other years it's 50 degrees and cloudy and rainy, and we want to make sure that you all are safe. So having warm clothes that are wool or synthetic is your best bet. Try to avoid cottons. Cottons, as soon as they get wet, do not insulate well. And then I make a big point about warm liquids because it's much easier to warm yourself from the inside out rather than putting on warm clothes from the outside in. So those are a couple of our other considerations for what you need to be bringing to this event. Now, I don't have a whole lot of other things to mention about this race this weekend. This is our first time offering a swim run, so we're really excited. If I didn't mention anything or if you still have questions, please feel free to reach out. We're really looking forward to seeing you this weekend. Have a great rest of your week.